Hey guys, so today we're going to take a look at the iPod Video, aka the 5th generation iPod Classic. This is a very popular music player back in the day. I think when you think about the Apple iPod, right, obviously there's several things you could think about. This was the product that basically brought Apple back. Apple was basically on the verge of bankruptcy in the 90s when Steve Jobs took Apple back over. And the iPod was the product line that got them back up on their feet and kind of paved the way for success with the iPhone and iPad later. So, yeah, back in the 2000s, these were everywhere. Nowadays, right, I think younger kids, Gen Z generation, might not be too aware of that. But back in the day, like iPods were really like everywhere, just like the way that iPhones are now. Yeah, iPods were everywhere, and the 5th generation, which was released, I think, back in 2005, iPod Mini and the iPod Video, these were like pretty much at the peak of iPod success back then. So, why do I have an iPod Video now? Well, the thing is, I actually, I kind of want to have something in my collection that represents kind of the older style MP3 players as well, because I collect digital audio players, and I have a lot of modern digital audio players that have really high-end DACs and everything inside of it that are quite expensive and everything. But I also like the older MP3 players from back in the 2000s, like the Creative Zens and the Microsoft Zunes and the Apple iPod as well. And for my collection, when I think about the iPod, really the mid-2000s, I think, is when the iPod was at its greatest peak, and before like the iPhone kind of came out and took over. So yeah, iPod Video is an iconic iPod. But not only that, if you find an iPod these days used, they're not going to have much battery left because of their age, right? This is the case with my iPod Nano 5th generation, which I showed before. It doesn't have any... The battery doesn't hold a charge anymore because it's so old. So if I just buy a used iPod Video, I don't think that would do, because yeah, I won't be able to really like use it because you need to actually replace the battery, So I looked online, and there's actually an active modding community for iPods out there. So I actually managed to get this one from China, because China makes a lot of modded iPods that they sell on eBay now. And I got this one, which is a modded iPod with a new battery and 256 gigs of storage, which was never offered back then. The iPod Video, I think the max storage you could get back then for the 5th generation iPod was 60 gigabytes, and that would cost like $400 US back then. But this one I got for $200 US, so still, like, for an iPod, that's still pretty expensive, right? Because they're old gadgets. But yeah, this is a kind of a new old stock iPod, essentially, that's been modded with 256 gig of storage, which is a higher amount than any iPod that you would have seen back then, and new battery. So yeah, pretty good. And of course, this can play video as well. It's not just playing audio. Unlike a lot of digital audio players today, dedicated DAPs today, they mostly cannot play video unless you get one of the Android ones. But they don't have dedicated video capabilities like for the MP3 players back then, which were, I think, equally used for video sometimes, like the Arcos players back then and the Creative Zen. I used them for video almost as much as I used them for audio. So it does support a lot of video formats and everything. I mean, you can still play video if you have an Android digital audio player now, but for the most part, I would say that's kind of an afterthought. If people buy digital audio players nowadays, it's going to be dedicated for music. And the specs on this one, 2.5-inch LCD 320 by 240 resolution, and yeah, it plays H.264 MPEG-4 at 640 by 480 resolution at 30 FPS. And yeah, originally the top-end model would have retailed for about $400 US, but this modded version with 256 gigabytes retails for, yeah, I got this for $200 on eBay. This is like freshly modded from China, So anyways, let's check this out here. Let's see. It's interesting because this was sealed, So they kind of like, they opened it up. They probably took an old iPod. They opened it up. They modified it with the extended storage and better battery and stuff. So they added a new battery, replaced the old one, and they added an expanded storage, and they kind of packaged it up and sealed it again. Pretty interesting. But this was essentially a refurbished old iPod, but then resealed with improvements. So yeah, designed by Apple California. Oh, kind of came out here. Okay, this is what it looks like. You can actually customize this, by the way. You can customize this when you buy it with, like, do you want to have a white circle touchpad? Do you want to like have a white dot in the middle or a black one? Yeah, and it comes with this translucent case, which is pretty cool. I think, and it should come with the cable as well, because these things have proprietary chargers, right? So it should come with yeah, the charging cable, because these are proprietary back then. Here we go. Yeah, iPod. So yeah, you got controls for the iPod. I think it's pretty self-explanatory because the iPod is so intuitive to use. That's one of the great things about the iPod, is that it was designed so well by, you know, Sir Jonathan Ive, who designed the iPod back then. Huge reason for its success was its design was actually really, really intuitive and easy to use. So you don't necessarily even need to know this stuff, because it's really easy to use an iPod. Just pick it up and use it. That's part of the reason why it's so successful. Okay, so you have the proprietary 30-pin charger and connector. This is what iPods used back in the day. In fact, it's actually what the first iPhones used as well, before they switched to the Lightning connector. So for those of you of a certain age, this is a kind of a familiar sight, right? The 30-pin connector used for early iPhones and all the iPods back then. But I already have one. And yeah, these guys, these are actually earpods. So these would not have been standard on iPods back then. So earpods, I think, came out around, was it 2012 or something like that? So earpods are actually a newer design. The original iPod earphones, I think, came out, like, the ones that would have came out in 2005 were like the ones with like a kind of round shape. Very, very basic. I think the earpods are like slightly better. These are not great still. Obviously, I have IEMs and stuff, very high-end stuff, but they're not great. But earpods are better than what came before. Like the iPod pre-packaged earphones that came before at the time, yeah, they would have been worse than these. So this is actually kind of something that would not have come in the original packaging, because earpods are actually newer than the iPod video. But yeah, it came with that. And then also came with this screen protector, and even protectors for the click wheel as well, and it came with a case. So this black silicone case as well, which I might or might not use, because I do like the translucent finish on this thing. Okay, I actually do like the polished aluminum back here. Looks really, really classy. And wow, they even, look at this, 256 gigabyte. They even like put this on the back. This must be a custom back then. Because like I said, they did not make 256 gigabyte iPod videos back then. So this must be custom made. Very, very interesting. Yeah, 256 gig. Because the thing is, when you buy this on eBay from the Chinese seller, when I did it, you can customize the storage space, right? So I chose 256, but they also have 512 gigabyte, and they also have 1 terabyte, actually. Obviously, they did not make capacities that high back then. So, this must be all custom backs then. 256 gigabytes, and it's actually on the back of this. So that means this must be a custom made for this these modded iPods. That's pretty crazy, you know? Yeah, because back then they went up to 60 gigabytes. They did not go up to 256, and you can even buy them online up to 1 terabyte. So obviously they did not make iPods that high capacity back then. That's pretty impressive that they actually made custom back covers for these. And it still says designed by Apple in California, assembled in China, Apple computer. I mean, yes, technically that's all true. They just put like a custom storage drive inside of here, you know, a different storage drive that wasn't on the original iPods back then. Okay, otherwise it looks pretty good. You have the hold button here, up here, as well as this is actually power switch as well, I believe. It's been a while since I used an iPod Classic. Okay, and headphone jack, 3.5 millimeter. You're not going to find balanced connections here, because this is a 2000s design. People weren't using balanced connectors back then on portable audio players. And then down here you have your proprietary 30-pin connector. Like I said, pretty. This is like the standard connector for iPods back then, and earlier iPhones as well. And this is the revolutionary click wheel interface, which is still pretty nice to use today. You know, this is not a touchscreen, it's a 2.5-inch display, but not a touchscreen. And this is a touch interface as well on the click wheel. I remember when I first used this back in Apple stores. I didn't own an iPod back then. I was more Team Creative. You know, I had a Creative Zen Vision M, which was the competitor to iPod back then. So I did not own an iPod, but obviously I have used them because sometimes I would just go to Apple stores and I would just start using these and always marvel over how cool they were, really. Because like having this capacitive touch interface on this touch strip here on the wheel was really, really cool. So yeah, to me, when I was in university, I went to Apple stores and kind of checked this out. It was a really cool interface to use. Nowadays, you have touchscreens, right, where everything's touch. But back then, just having something that responds to your fingers like that or thumbs is really, really cool. And you have the menu button, also the button to go back. Enter, confirm is right here, right in the middle. And next, previous track, next track, play, pause. It's very, very intuitive, you know. So you would see a lot of digital audio players try to copy this type of interface. So you have the click wheel that's used in, like, say, the Hi-Fi Man, who made some of the first higher-end digital audio players of the day, kind of took this interface with the click wheel, and some other Chinese audio players took this interface as well. I believe if you look on Amazon, you look for this brand called Hi-Fi Walker. They have this model called the H2. They still sell that today. Go on Amazon, look for Hi-Fi Walker H2, and they will have a player like this that looks kind of like an iPod and has this click wheel. So you still have players to this day that kind of copy this type of interface. That's how good it was. So anyways, and very nice size, easy to hold in the hand. That's good. You know, today's audio players, I feel like, are a little bit too bulky. Yeah, the higher end digital audio players nowadays, too bulky. But back then, yeah, you have something that's really nice and portable like this. So for comparison, I have a more modern digital audio player, like the Hibi or Hibi RS6 that I have. And you can see just how thick it is, and like compare the thickness, right? The iPod Classic, the iPod Video from 2005, compared to the RS6, which I got in 2021. Yeah, it's like pretty substantial difference in thickness here. And of course, the modern digital audio players all have media playback controls on the side, and they got volume dials and everything, which the iPod doesn't have. But I mean, you kind of do have volume dials, but it's just like it's on the click pad itself. But yeah, I can see the differences here, right? This is definitely more of a mainstream player. This is definitely something for a niche audience, right? So yeah, this is more focused on the sound quality and everything. And you can see like dedicated line out jacks and everything, and balanced connectors, something that the iPod doesn't have. Of course, the iPod, this can play video too because it's running Android. But yeah, overall, I liked to go back to these older devices sometimes. And this is like back in the day where you have MP3 players or digital audio players made for a more mainstream market. You can tell the difference here, how much bigger the RS6 is as well, right? Just the size is, wow. The modern digital audio players are so much bigger and thicker because it's more focused on sound quality and geared for a more niche audience. But it's not like the iPod sound quality is bad or anything. That's kind of what I want to refamiliarize myself with, is the Wolfson DAC inside of the iPods back then were actually considered pretty good at the time. So I wanted to just go back and see, wow, just how good are they, you know, to refamiliarize myself with them. I've been spoiled by all these flagship DACs from like AKM4497, AKM4499, ES9039 Pro, you know, ESS Saber and Cirrus Logic DACs, and Asai Kase DACs, all the flagship stuff. I've been kind of spoiled by that. R2R DACs, you know. I want to go back and go back to the iPod to see just how good these sounded like. You know, I think they sounded pretty solid, as I remember. I haven't like listened to an iPod for a while. I mean, except for the iPod Nano that I did a review on a few weeks ago. But the iPod Classic, it's been a while. But I remember these having pretty solid Wolfson DACs back in the day. I think before they switched to Cirrus Logic. I'm not sure if this is a Cirrus Logic inside of it or Wolfson, but yeah, we'll see. The Cirrus Logic, I believe, did take over Wolfson. So now all Wolfson DACs are kind of, they've been incorporated into Cirrus Logic technology. But yeah, stay tuned, guys. Actually, let's see how well does this case fit. How does it look like with the case on? I'm just curious. Can I even put this one on? Come on. Might not be worth it here. This little silicone case. Come on. Okay. And it looks like this with the case on. Okay. Oh man, it does not look as good. What's with this thing? What? Why would I have this stupid thing sticking out of it? What is this for? Okay, I do not like this case at all. Okay, it might provide like minimally more protection, yeah, because it's silicone rubber and stuff, but it's not like a leather case or anything. No, I prefer the translucent. I prefer the translucent case here. Yeah, I'll take this out. I do not like having this thing sticking out of the side. Yeah. Oh, by the way, also it came with this charging brick thing as well, which is pretty common for iPods back then. Alright, so stay tuned guys. I'm going to load up some music and video and boot it up and tell you guys what I think. Okay, so I got the iPod all booted up and running, and I got some music synced and some photos and videos as well. By the way, I found my old Creative Zen Vision M here, so you guys can compare here. Roughly around the same size, and they both have 2.5-inch displays. I believe the Creative actually had more colors, so 262,000 colors, and these two were going head to head back in the day, I remember, back in 2005, 2006. And I remember choosing the Creative Zen, first of all, because I'm not like an Apple guy. Like, even back then, I wasn't really an Apple guy. So I didn't really want to go with iPod. I didn't want to go with something that everyone else had. But also because it was much easier for the file formats to be transferred onto the Creative Zen. It wasn't so picky about the different types of video files that you can play and the different kind of music that you can play and stuff. Whereas with iPod, everything had to go through iTunes and had to be synced through iTunes, had to be the proper format, and etc. It was just way too picky. So I like the Creative Zen more. Can play my more file formats and everything. I like the little touch strip on the Creative Zen as well. Unfortunately, my Creative Zen does not work anymore. Yeah, it got some corrupted hard drive issue here, so I cannot boot it up anymore. So unfortunately, I can't show you guys the sound output or the display of the Creative Zen Vision M, because it is a really nice player for back in the day, back in 2006 and yeah, 2007. I used this for basically my whole time when I was going to university. This was my main music player back then and video player back then as well. But yeah, it's too bad can't get it loading anymore. But this one is quite a bit thicker. This is 256 gigs, but you guys can see just how slim it is despite being 256 gigs, whereas this thing was only 30 gigs, and you can see like how much thicker it was. Yeah, you guys can see that thickness difference. So definitely I would say like some of the older devices back then, they used 1.8-inch hard drives back then, right? So the iPod was thicker at one point, but now it got slimmer, and I think that's also because of this modded version, right? It uses a thinner hard drive. This is not a rotating hard drive, so that's the thing. Now we got 256 gigabyte flash storage, essentially. Back then, having 256 gigabyte flash storage was like unheard of, right? Flash storage went up to like, I think 16 gigs back then. So 256 gig didn't exist back in the day. But now we have 256 gigabyte flash storage. Back in the day, if you wanted to have a lot of storage, like 30 gigs, 60 gigs, etc., you had to go with a 1.8-inch rotating hard drive, which is what devices like the Creative Zen Vision M used. So that's why you see this thickness here. Kind of necessary if you want to have a lot of storage back then, because you had to use a rotating hard drive back then to get this much storage. Nowadays you can fit like 1 terabyte onto a micro SD. So yeah, now we live in different times. But yeah, let's take a look at the iPod interface here. Very classic, right? Using the scroll wheel to kind of navigate. Yeah, this is like, I don't know about young kids these days, but just using the scroll wheel, like this touch interface, is just a unique feeling back in the day. This does not have cover flow, by the way. That was the next generation after, I think, the 6th generation of cover flow. And of course, iPod Touch had it, but I don't believe the iPod Video had cover flow, so I can't show you cover flow. Didn't exist at that time. But I'll show you, yeah, music. I'm gonna play some songs here. And yeah, we can choose from playlists, artist, album, songs, podcasts as genres, composers, audiobook search. This is all synced from iTunes, but we can just go to full songs, and this will be how you navigate. And if you navigate fast, it actually can kind of speed up. If you have a huge library, it's still fine because it can kind of like speed up the navigation like that, which is pretty cool, even if it doesn't have a touchscreen. But this is still a better interface than a lot of digital audio players nowadays. I just used the Hyditz AP80 Pro X recently, and that interface, that UI kind of sucked, right? The iPod UI is better than that. So even nowadays, modern UI, yeah, it's still there's still digital audio players with kind of shitty UI, you know. Canon NC Ultra is another one. Had an issue with that UI. Like some of the cheaper music players that you can get nowadays, dedicated music players, yeah, the iPod still has better UI than them. Here's like going through the albums, right, and go through artists as well. Yeah, very nice, right? So I can play the song. Let's play New Jeans. Yeah, check it out. Bubblegum. Yeah, so I'll show the album artwork here. And yeah, you can kind of adjust the volume when you're in the... Once you start playing a song, right, you go into the... This is the song interface, and then, yeah, you can kind of adjust the volume just by using the click wheel. Very, very intuitive to use. And then if you want to go next track, right, you can just click next track. Oh, I think maybe I pressed too fast. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think maybe I went a little bit too fast. Okay, let's see. This is their debut album here, yeah. So load their debut album. Oh, this is the remix, actually. But yeah, it's pretty easy to use. Play, pause, right? Pause it. And then press it again. Start up again. Menu to go back. Very, very simple. Easy to use. Go to, let's see, Promise 9. Oh, this is their new album from our 20s. Oh, is there a bit of lag here, or? Oh, here it is. Yeah, now it's loading. Yeah, okay. I think if you go a little bit too fast, it doesn't like it. But yeah, overall, it still works well, I think. And it's got a renewed battery, right? Yeah, I believe the iPod video back then could get anywhere from 5 hours to 10 hours. There's a pretty big range, I think, depending on like which revision you have. But yeah, it's not like great battery life, I would say, but it'll get you like maybe a full day, 8 hours. But yeah, it's not really great. Albums, yeah, I think we went through that. Okay. So that's pretty much music, right? That's what most people use their iPod for, is music. And let's see, another one. This is one of my favorite songs too. Bruno Mars, Anderson .Paak. Okay, yep. So I guess I just don't want to do too much. I think this thing is not like it has a latest CPU or anything like that. So can't do too much, otherwise won't keep up. So I do have some photos synced. We can go with that. Slideshow settings. So yeah, you can do slideshows. 3 seconds per slide. You can choose the music to so basically you can actually hook it up to your TV using a special like connector, because this thing uses a proprietary connector, right? So you have like special cables to hook it up to your TV using the composite or component, or you can use a docking station to do that. Back then you would have hooked it up to your TV to do that. Shuffle photos, repeat, transitions. You can choose type of transition. I'll go with random. And whatever we can do a slideshow. Yeah, so I did sync some photos here, so let's see. Is that lagging again? Okay, here. Yeah, so these are some photos I synced. I don't know if it's doing that slideshow. I think I gotta... Oh, okay, here, that's how you start it. Okay, yep. So these are a couple of photos I synced, and it will do some random transition between these. Yeah, I mean, this is like back in the day when people didn't have smartphones, right? So you got to remember, like, why did iPod have the ability to store like photos and stuff? Well, yeah, back in the day, people didn't really have like they didn't have smartphones, so like yeah, this is a good way to take your pictures on the go, right? It's like you can't just like cell phones back then. You could store photos, but they weren't very good quality. And I would say the iPod was actually better for viewing photos than most cell phones back then. So videos, I do have one video synced. Now I have to mention something about this video stuff. Like it is, it was ridiculously hard to get any kind of video working on this and it's properly synced. So the thing is, if you just take any modern video file and you try to sync it to iPod, it won't work. Like if you just take like a MKV file or any kind of like modern, any modern kind of movie file, you won't be able to sync it to this iPod. It's like it requires a specific type of resolution, specific type of encoding. You have to like convert it using iTunes, and then it might be able to play on this iPod. It's not even guaranteed. So it's like, yeah, once you convert it using iTunes to like the Apple preferred format or whatever, then you might be able to play it on here. And it has to be MP4. Can't be any other format. So it's very, very picky about what you can play on here. So I only have one music video I managed to sync here. Like I actually had to download this from iTunes and then convert it using iTunes because I guess modern, like if you download a modern video from iTunes, it's M4V format, which old iPods like this don't support. So it has to be the old MP4 format or MOV format maybe. Like yeah, it's very annoying. But here, let's take a look. This is the ESPA music video. I think actually it's kind of like a little introduction video that they made. And well, there's no speaker on the iPod, so you guys can't hear anything. But yeah, this is how the video looks. It looks fine. Of course, this is a widescreen video. The iPod, this is a 2.5-inch display. You got to remember, like back then, when you have these kind of music players with 2.5-inch displays, they were designed for standard resolution. They're not designed for widescreen support, not designed for high definition. So you had the standard aspect ratio was 4:3 back then. So it's 4:3, and it can display like 360 or 480p maybe. So that was the kind of resolution it expected. Yeah, and nowadays you get like 720, 1080, 4K. No, you're gonna get you're gonna have issues, and then you're gonna have letterboxing like this because the widescreen, right? So yeah, back in the 2000s, it was like it expects standard aspect ratio 4:3, standard aspect ratio, and standard definition as well. Yeah. Well, anyways, the colors are good. I still think my Creative Zen Vision M, yeah, it had more colors back then. But yeah, iPod video is fine. I mean, it's just really, really picky about what you can play on it. If you use Microsoft Zune or Creative Zen, it's not going to be as picky. Yeah, I think those can convert the video files pretty easily, but it's like, man, with iTunes, like having to do that. Every single video file, basically, you had to convert using iTunes. Otherwise, it won't play. And then you'll have letterboxing because it's not like the standard aspect ratio. Yeah, so this is the extras here. Clock. Yeah, 5:28 p.m. in California, which is the same as Vancouver. Games. Yeah, so you do have some built-in games here. Brick, which is Breakout, basically. And this is an appropriate game for an Apple device because Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak basically created Breakout all the way back in the day. He was the programmer for that, the original Breakout. Yep, so you have some pretty simple games here. Music quiz. Oh, okay. So this is like, do you know your tracks well or something like that? It's like you listen to a bit of music and you try to guess a song. Well, that's interesting. But yeah, I guess if you're really bored, you can do that, but it's not for me. Parachute. Oh yeah, this is like one of those Flash games from back in the day, remember? You have the guys falling, yeah, guys falling from parachutes. I remember playing this. This is like, on some Windows 3.1 or Flash games or something like that. Newgrounds Flash games would have this kind of stuff. So simplistic. But hey, if you really need to play to kill time, you could do it, you know. Like these games are not in-depth. You're not going to have an in-depth playthrough of these games. You're not going to have Let's Play videos and stream on Twitch when you play these games. No, this is just for killing time. Solitaire. Yep, that's Solitaire, all right. Yeah, I mean, it's actually interesting they got Solitaire running on iPod. Okay, not the first game I would expect they would have on iPod, actually. Solitaire. No free cell, though. Okay. Contacts. You can actually put your contacts onto here. You can sync them. You know, back in the day, you got to remember, no smartphones, right? So people can actually do their PIM stuff here. PIM. Yeah, that's right. That's what they call the PDA functionality, like this. Contacts, calendar. Yeah, so like people would have PDAs, which are personal digital assistants, like Palm Pilots and Pocket PCs back in the day, but those were mostly like businessmen. For the common crowd, I think you could use your iPod to do it. But yeah, only if you had some money and you were like a business person back then you might have a PDA. But most people didn't actually. Like I did because I'm an electronics freak. But most people didn't, I think. So you can actually use your iPod to do this stuff, just sync this stuff, notes, stopwatch. You know, you do have a stopwatch here, timer. Oh, that's cool. I actually did not realize that iPod had a stopwatch. Okay, if you had to, you can use your iPod to do it. Okay, so it's kind of a PDA type device as well. When you had all these extras, settings, about main menu. Yeah, so you can add some stuff to the main menu here. Oh, I actually had a backlight setting as well, right? Yep. Sleep. Shuffle, repeat, volume limit, backlight timer, brightness, audiobooks. Oh yeah, you had audiobooks as well. You can choose a speed. Slower, normal, or faster. EQ. Oh, you have EQ as well. You have acoustic, bass booster, bass reducer. That's interesting. You don't often see bass reducer. And then you have different genres. Loudness, lounge. Small speakers, spoken word, treble booster, treble reducer, vocal booster. Okay, interesting. Yep, that's all going to change different frequencies and stuff. Compilations. What's compilations? Sound check. Clicker. Date and time. Yeah, clicker is, I think, is the sound it makes. Like this. It's like you hear the clicking sound, right? Date and time. You set time zone. Daylight savings time. Time and title. I'll turn that on. Contacts. Language. Legal. We set all settings. Okay. You shuffle songs. And you'll play like a random song off of here. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's the iPod video, also known as the iPod Classic 5th generation. And yeah, this is a custom modified version with 256 gigabytes of storage and a new battery. And yes, despite being 256 gigs, it is quite slim because it's actually 256 gig flash storage, which did not exist back in the day, but now we have it. So you guys can see how slim it is despite having a lot of storage space. Yeah, so this type of iPod did not exist back then, right? If you had 30 gigabytes or 60 gigabytes, you likely had this type of form factor, which is a thicker type of chassis because, yeah, like you had a 1.8-inch rotating hard drive back then to store 30 gigabytes or 60 gigabytes back then. That's what you had. Like this, you had to have a device like this thick. But because we have modern flash storage now that can store a lot of space, then yeah, like SSDs basically, that's how you can have like, yeah, this type of form factor and you have a lot of storage. So this type of iPod would not have existed back then. We're kind of blessed with having yeah, pretty nice amount of storage in a small amount of space now. And it loads really fast too, right? So SSDs or flash storage definitely load faster compared to your rotating hard drives back then. You know, rotating hard drives, you had to wait a bit for the music. You had to wait for the hard drive to start spinning up and everything loaded slower. So yeah, this new modded iPod basically benefits from, yeah, our modern SSDs now. So it's pretty cool getting kind of this is like really a retro device with some modern enhancements and improvements, right? But it's still a 5th generation iPod, and yeah, still it doesn't have like cover flow, for example, and it's missing some stuff that Apple added in later. And Yeah, actually it does have a speaker. I shouldn't say it doesn't have a speaker because you can hear the click, right? Yeah, you can hear the click. But let's just say that, yeah, when I play music or video, it won't actually output it through a speaker. But there is a speaker for the click though. Oh yeah, so I do have a working Creative product right here. It's not the Vision M. I actually have the Creative Zen, which came out actually 2 years after the Zen Vision M. And this is just called the Creative Zen, and this one is working. So it does also have a 2.5-inch display, just like the... let's start at the beginning here. Okay. Yeah, so you guys can compare side by side. Yeah, so this is the Creative Zen from 2007. Also has a 2.5-inch display. Of course, it's a lot smaller because this one was using flash-based storage back then, not hard drives. Yeah. Let's see. I think the iPod actually looks a little bit more washed out, to be honest. I do like the Creative actually seems like it has a little better contrast here. I think the iPod looks a little bit washed out. Can check, whoops, V plus. Yeah, see, this is why I actually preferred Creative Zen back then for watching videos. Actually, Arcos technically would be the best at watching videos back then, but out of the iPod and Creative, yeah, the Creative, it just seems like it has better contrast, and I do believe it had more color support back then. Like the Vision M had like 262,000 colors, and iPod had 65,000 colors, I think. And then the Creative Zen, this one, I think had support for over 1 million colors. Yeah. So you guys can see like I think the contrast on the Creative Zen looks a lot better for video. Plus, it can play more types of files. The iPod is like really, really picky about that. So yeah, I think for video, I prefer Creative Zen. Okay, so what about the sound quality of this thing? How does it perform? Well, I don't know exactly the DAC inside of here. I think it's some kind of Wolfson DAC. I'm not sure what Wolfson DAC it is, but I know they were using Wolfson DACs and they just switched to Cirrus Logic DACs later. But it's fine. Like, certainly back then, I think this is like definitely like comparable to a Creative Zen Vision M and a lot of the other devices. Like the sound quality is fine. It's not going to blow you away or anything. It doesn't really have that much output power, and that's fine for the time, you know, because people were just using this with the earbuds and earpods and stuff back then. So yeah, I think in terms of output power, this is not going to be as great as a lot of modern digital audio players. Certainly for modern digital audio players, they're going to have more output power compared to the iPod. As for the sound quality itself, it's fine for most people, you know. For audiophiles, it might sound a little bit flat and not very detailed. So definitely, if you're an audiophile like me, then you're gonna have to, yeah, that's when you want to prefer like a more modern digital audio player, because the modern digital audio players do have better DACs. So the actual audio quality itself is going to sound a little bit flat and not very exciting, and a little bit congested. The soundstage sounds a bit congested, and yeah, it doesn't have the technical specs of today's DACs. Yeah, I would say that for audiophiles, definitely, I think modern digital audio players are probably the way to go there. But for most people, like, you know, the typical non-audiophile, this is fine. The sound quality is fine. Pretty comparable to Creative Zen Vision M, if I remember correctly. I don't think that the iPod or the Creative, I don't think either of them was better or worse in terms of sound quality. I think they're about the same. The main reason you would choose the Creative is just because of the better video support and the better colors on it. But yeah, if you're just talking about music support, like sound quality, I think they're about the equal. Yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think compared to the Microsoft Zune, I actually prefer the Zune HD, actually. Zune HD actually has pretty decent sound quality. It also has a pretty cool interface as well. But, you know, after the at the end of this video, I'm going to do a sound comparison test. So stay tuned for that. I'll be comparing this iPod 5th generation modded versus the Creative Zen here. So this came out roughly, you know, 2 years after this one. So I think it's fine to compare those, right? It came out around the same time. Oh yeah, I can't use the Vision M, unfortunately. So yeah, I have my Zune HD here. You can see how small this one is. It's like roughly a little bit more than half the size of the iPod video here. But the Zune HD is actually more meant to compete with the iPod Nano in terms of the size and the form factor. It was the original Zune that competed more with the iPod Classic. So Zune HD is pretty cool. I really do like the interface of the Zune HD. Actually, this came out, I think, 2009. So it's got a full touchscreen and everything. The interface is just super smooth, like this. Playlist songs. You can go here. Yeah, you can see like history. Play something like this. Adjust the volume. It's really, really smooth, slick interface, and a surprisingly pretty good sound quality. You know, compared to the Creative and the iPod, I would take the Zune actually in terms of sound quality. I think it's actually pretty good. But hey, I'll have sound comparison test. I'll compare the Zune HD with the Creative Zen with the iPod video. Also compare to some smaller entry-level DAPs that came out recently. Like I had the Koan D3, I had the Hydits AP80, the Sony Walkman A306, and the Philo Snowski Echo Mini that I did reviews on recently. And I'll compare it to those. No. But yeah, OLED display as well, Zune HD. Pretty cool, and this thing has pretty good battery life too as well. But oops, get this closing. Oh yeah, here, and it's done. Okay, yeah. So that's it. In terms of iPod video here, the modded one, should you get it? It depends. I think if you're like really have that nostalgia for the 2000s like me, if you grew up in the 2000s, you know, with the iPod, then it might be worth getting it just you know, just as a kind of something nice for a collection. You know, I'm not sure if this can be like a daily driver again, because honestly, I do have better sounding digital audio players now with touchscreens and everything. But yeah, and you do have smartphones, of course, as well, which is pretty much made the iPod obsolete in many ways. But hey, just for the retro form factor and the interface, from a nostalgia point of view, it's nice to have it, right? Especially since you can get one modded with a newer battery and bigger storage. So from that perspective, it's pretty cool to get one. You know, just more for like a collection standpoint. So I would say that's the main reason you would get one. I'm not sure if anyone wants to use an iPod as a daily driver again, but certainly from a collection standpoint, I think it's necessary to have an iPod because it was one of the most important music players in history, right? Very influential. So yeah, that's it, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'll have the comparison video coming up next. I can do a comparison test. The iPod versus its contemporaries, the Creative and the Zune were the two biggest competitors, I would say. There's also Arcos and iRiver and Koan, and then Sansa by SanDisk and Toshiba Gigabeat and stuff. But let's just say for the point of this video, I'll just have Creative and Zune, and as well as some other newer entry-level digital audio players to compare it to, and see if you guys can spot a difference. Yeah, so let me know in the comment section below what you guys think, and stay tuned. As always, thanks for watching.